actually established by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in all of his mats. And anybody who's coming in his line of the cyclic succession would never ask this question. Here we have, on this altar, we have Krishna Balarama. And Balarama is always with Krishna when he's engaged in his cow-herding pastimes. But you'll never find Balarama in a place where Krishna is with Srimati Radhika and the gopis. And there's an etiquette there that is the elder brother in Vedic culture is considered like in the parental mood. So the rasas of parental mood and conjugal mood are incompatible. Although parental mood serves the Madhurya mood, like for example, Mother Yasoda invites Radharani and her Sakis to cook every morning, to cook in Nanda Bhavan every morning, knowing that Krishna is not hungry unless he gets her food, and knowing that she had a boon from Durvasa Muni, that anyone who eats her prasadam, they will never be defeated by any enemy, and they'll be very strong and powerful. So, Vatsalya Ras serves Madhurya Ras, but it's incompatible in the sense that, here's an example, if Radha and Krishna haven't met for a while, and all of a sudden they see each other, and then they have the anticipation of meeting, and then they see that Mother Yasoda is somewhere nearby, they'll immediately split into two different directions, because you don't show, even husband and wife don't deal with each other intimately in front of the parents, and what to speak of the paramour love. So although Mother Yasoda kind of knows what's going on, she looks the other way and pretends that she didn't see anything. So Balarama will never be there. And as we know, Balarama Hoila Nitai, Nityananda is no other than Balarama himself. And we hear about Nityananda and the 12 main cowherd boys, how they became the main associates of Nityananda. So you'll never see Nityananda Prabhu with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he's fully absorbed in the mood of Radharani. So therefore, in the Gaudiya-like temples that were established by our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we'll only find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Radha and Krishna. Even Srila Prabhupada, when he established his temples, he had Gaurnitai and a separate prakost, or a separate section of the altar. So now, because the main focus is Radha and Krishna, and Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahiyanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Radha and Krishna. So in Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's Manashiksha, he says, Sachi Sutta Nandeswara
Suchisuna Nandeswara Pati Sutatve
Nandeswara Pati Sutatve. O mind, always remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna, who's now covered by the mood and complexion of Srimati Radhika. So they're always together. In fact, when arati is done, sometimes the arati is done to all three together. So if in any Gaudiya Math temples there are, it's not that in no Gaudiya Math temples there's no Nityananda Prabhu, but the stress is on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna. And in Srila Prabhupada's own temple, that is Srila Prabhupada's temple, the whole Panchatattva is there. And in several of his temples and his disciples' temples. And also Gaura is there. In addition to worshipping the deity, the Gaudiya Math, what's the word? Gaudiya Math daily habit is to sing vandanas, Hare Krishna, to sing vandanas to all the Guru Parampara, starting from Guru, then Vaishnava, then Gaura. And there are so many kirtans in Nityananda Prabhu by Lochan Das Thakur and others that we sing daily. And we know, and we hear lectures about Nityananda Prabhu all the time, especially, of course, on his appearance day. But in the Gaudiya Math, always Nityananda Prabhu is being glorified, that without his mercy, nobody can get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So how this imaginary idea came, I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
More or less, or do you have something to add?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Then, I don't know if I understand properly. So you agree that Nityananda Prabhu should be worshipped?
Well, of course. Otherwise, we can't make any connection with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I was thinking because Narottam Das Thakur says, Henonita Vine Bhaira Krishna
Absolutely.
It's okay.
And we sing those songs every day.
Okay. Another question? ¿Alguna otra pregunta?
She has a question regarding that if you see a difference between the paintings that you painted for Srila Prabhupada and the ones that you painted for Srila Gurudev.
So Parvati is asking if I see any difference?
Yeah, like in the...
Do I personally see any difference between the paintings that I did for Prabhupada and the paintings I did for Gurudev? I would say only in topic. Because there are varieties of topics. And also, in the days of doing DVT paintings, Prabhupada was very much hurrying to get many books out. And so many, many hundreds of paintings had to be done in just a few years. So our minds were on many paintings and many stories behind the paintings or philosophy behind the paintings, one after another. And sometimes, individually, each of us BBT artists would be working on a few paintings at the same time. And sometimes we did paintings collaboratively. That is 3 or 4 artists on the same painting. So there was no time to delve into any one particular one. And in the years of 1992 to 2000, when was the last? Well, 2010 was the last order from Srila Gurudev to do a painting. So in those years, I only did about 12 or 13 paintings. And so I would bring the paintings many times during their development to Srila Gurudev, and he would tell more and more about each painting, giving more and more detailed directions, what they're thinking. Of course, in the paintings that I did of Braj for Srila Prabhupada, all the details were there also in his books. Like, for example, one devotee, Ramdas, and Jairam Das and I combined to do a painting of Krishna wanting to tax Radharani and stopping her when she wants to cross the river. And then the Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about Kila Kinchita Bhav, the different 7 kinds of contradictory moods that Radharani is in when Krishna approaches her. So everything is there, but I never took the time to really delve into it. I didn't know that there was a graduate course. In fact, I just thought that if I would chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regular principles, I would go back to home, back to Godhead. And one time Prabhupada even told me, just paint, and that will be your perfection. Or just distribute books and you'll go back to Godhead. So that was my thinking. And then when I met Srila Gurudev, I understood that when Srila Prabhupada would say things like that, it was like, you have a little child who doesn't want to drink his milk. And so the mother or father says, if you just drink your milk, you'll grow up to be big and strong and you'll become a famous athlete. Or the boy doesn't want to do his studies in school. So the parent would say, if you just do your studies, you'll become a famous lawyer, as an encouragement. So Srila Prabhupada was encouraging us in that way, because that was our capacity of appreciation and understanding. And then, when the child gets older, then he sees that there's a lot more difficult subjects to do. So, similarly, Srila Gurudev told me once at Govardhan, where we are right now, such a beautiful painting, he said, Srila Prabhupada has given you the almond, and I'm squeezing that almond to get out the almond oil. In other words, he's showing us how to go deeper into Srila Prabhupada's books. He said, I'm giving you all the torchlight so you can see more clearly Prabhupada's books, and I'm giving you the key so you can unlock the treasure of the books, and I'm giving you the shovel so that you can dig more deeply into the books. So similarly, as the paintings were developing, he told us more and more, and simultaneously, not even about the paintings, he was telling all of his students in India and then the world how to go deeper to enter into the pastimes of the painting. So does that answer the question?
I have one.
Prabhu? Tell me your name again.
Radha Govinda Das.
Radha Govinda.
So, I want to ask you if you can speak something about the importance of the present sadhu, the importance of the serve to the present sadhu. I can see in your spiritual life, first you meet and serve to Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, then you go to serve to Srila Bhaktivinoda Narayan Goswami Maharaj, then you go and serve to Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. So, how can follow your example, serving to the present sadhu, to the living sadhu?
I'm not exactly sure how to answer it, because who do you
What
mean,
is the importance of the
who do you
serve
mean
to
to be the present sadhu?
un sadhu viviente, un sadhu presente?
He means like sadhu is alive and present in the
No,
world.
that I know, but does he have any specific
que es algún sadhu, alguna persona en específico.
No,
¿Cómo encontrarlo?
Like how to
sí,
find him.
como a pesar de que ya tuvo un maestro espiritual perfecto como Bhaktivinoda Papa, es muy importante aún después de esto ir, continuar bajo el refugio y la inspiración.
That despite already have a perfect guru like Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, what is the importance to continue taking shelter after his departure on any other sadhu?
Well, okay, so the question is, we already have a perfect guru, Srila Prabhupada. What is the importance, significance of taking shelter of any other person who we may consider to be perfect? Who's
No, I don't think that was his question.
Yes,
That's not what I
and to
am.
add to that,
sí,
what
¿cuál
is
es
the
la importancia
importance
de
of serving,
continuar
living
You're
guru
bajo
one
el
after the
refugio de
other?
un Vaishnava
He
presente?
meant that what's the importance of always look for a present
What is the
sadhu,
importance in always looking for to serve
we can
a
find
present sadhu,
and how you can
and
find
how can we find one?
or distinguish?
Distinguish.
and that you've shown by example.
Yes,
You
I
had
by
Prabhupada was
example.
perfect,
Because
and then you went to
I was
Gurudev,
struck
and then you
down
went to
and-
Srila Maharaj.
Yes, because some people say, "Oh, I have my guru now he goes. I don't need go to other sadhu. I don't need go to other Vaishnava. I follow only my spiritual master, and I don't need
Very good.
association
Okay.
with other Vaishnavas." Something
So,
like that.
if a person's spiritual master is actually in the line, a bona fide representative of the line of spiritual masters, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, then that spiritual master, who's now gone, is going to be saying the same thing as all the other bona fide spiritual masters, right? There's no difference in the teachings since Vyasadeva, thousands of years ago to the present age. Sometimes there's adjustments according to time, place, and circumstance, and eligibility of the audience, but the message is always the same. So, all Shastra and all Granthas, what is that? Bhagavad, Grantha Bhagavad, and all Person Bhagavad, who are personifications of Grantha Bhagavad, or scriptures, they're all saying the same thing, which is that one must always seek out the association of advanced devotees. For example, Srila Rupa Goswami, with Srila Prabhupada's explanation in Upadeshamrita, one should offer obeisances to the mind, in the mind, to a neophyte. One should serve with, cooperate with, offer obeisances with the body to a Madhyama Adhikari, or someone who's received Diksha and has some sambandha or relationship with the Lord, and one should give his whole head and his whole heart to all devotees who are fully absorbed in bhajan and are free from all faults, beginning with the faults of criticizing others. And sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi, lava matra, sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. 1 moment with association with a pure devotee, 1/11th of a second of such association is better than any of the going to any heavenly planets, and it assures perfection. So in all Shastras, association with pure devotees is recommended. Prahlad Maharaj also prayed for the association of pure devotees. Vritrasura, Chitraketu Maharaj, he prayed in this about 3 or 4 very, very important slokas in his prayers of the 6th canto, where he's praying, I don't want anything else, just give me the association of your pure devotees. In Rai Ramanand Sambad, Ramananda Rai tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati, Krishna Bhakti Ras or Braj Bhakti cannot be attained by any amount of Vaidhi Bhakti, following rules and regulations. It can only be obtained by paying one price, and that is greed, which comes from hearing from the pure devotee about the pastimes of the Lord. So wherever, Srila Rupa Goswami said, and this is one of the first things that I learned from Srila Prabhupada, wherever you can find that pure devotee, go instantly without delay and hear from him. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Gurudev Srila Gurudev meaning Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, gave a lecture on the qualities of the pure devotee, which are mentioned in the teachings of Kapila Dev to his mother. And he's tolerant, he's equal to everyone, he's merciful, he's a friend of all. And then, in association with that verse, the verse that says, by serving the pure devotees, the door to liberation is open, and by serving those who are attached to sense gratification, the door to hell is open. So everywhere we see that. In the absence, if we can't find one, if we don't know who is one, we simultaneously cry. I was just hearing Gurudev say the other day, crying to Krishna and any of my go-to gurus for that association, and also reading the books in a very special way. Like, could I have one of those Brihad Bhagavatamritas there?
Yes. Which part?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, suppose I'm reading Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So, I don't read, I serve. Like Gurudev said, don't eat Krishna Prasadam, serve Krishna Prasadam. That's a whole other class. Don't chant Harinam, serve Harinam. Don't read the books, serve the books. So how do I serve the book? There's so many pure devotees in the book. Like, for example, who are the pure devotees in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita? There's Narada Muni, of course. There's Sanatana Goswami, of course. There's Gopkumar, of course. There's Janandagni,
Jana Sharma.
Janmejaya,
Jana Sharma.
Jana Sharma. So many pure devotees. So I go like this. Oh Prabhu, you're not a book. You are, and then I name the book. I name the people. And of course, this book came by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Or our Srila Gurudev also has a translation of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So I'd say, you're not a book, you're Prabhupada also in this case, or you're Srila Gurudev in that case. So all of you, please shower your mercy on me so that I can realize what you're personally telling me as I'm sitting at your lotus feet, and so that I can become free from all doubts and Siddhanta. And Srila Gurudev said, if you read like this, then you'll be free from all doubts. And if you read just to, okay, so now I'm going to read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and I'll understand what I'm reading, then you'll be full of doubts and Siddhanta. And Gurudev said, because I read in this way, by praying, then so many big scholars of Mathura and Vrindavan come to me to explain different Siddhantas. And so, another way to say that is seeing the personalities in the books as our Shiksha Guru. So we can associate with them in that way. At the same time, pray for, actually in one of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's kirtans, in the section of Vaishnavas. It says, please help me to be able to understand, to recognize who is a Kanistha, Madhva, Majjhima, and Uttama, so I can serve them all properly. And what does he say in that other kirtan? That thus I'll be free from all offenses and I can happily chant the holy name. Does anybody remember? No?
Not right now.
Yeah, so there it also says about, oh yes, please allow me to offer my obeisances to all the devotees, jata jata, according to their qualification, and thus I'll become free from offenses to the holy name and chant in ecstasy. So we want to pray to understand. Now generally only a Majjhima Majjhima can be able to distinguish between the qualities of different devotees. He's of this, he's of that. And Majjhima Majjhima is not a low stage. It's like coming to the stage of asakti, where you automatically get a semblance of a vision of your own Siddhadeha and Krishna's as well. It's the beginning of the emotions that become more mature in Bhava Bhakti. So in that stage, I can automatically recognize a pure devotee. And in a lower stage, the only way I can take advantage is if I get mercy. Like, who was I when I met Srila Prabhupada? I was a complete, drugged out, meat-eating hippie. And I thought that I was God. But I knew that I was unhappy, and I began to doubt that I was God. Like, well, if I'm God, why can't I get out of this elevator right now? So then all of a sudden, I was on my way to a friend's house, not looking for spiritual life, because I thought I had it. And I used to wear this long cape and long beige skirts to show my godhood. So I was just going to a friend's house, passing through Tompkins Square Park, and there were the bongos, there was the flute, there was the bells, and there was Srila Prabhupada with his little dim-dim drum, sitting on the Indian rug, chanting Hare Krishna. And then after he made his little speech in front of that famous tree you see him under, then his disciples rolled up the rug, they went back to the temple. I was just standing there, and I was thinking, he looks like a genie who flew in on a magic carpet. But I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so then this stranger came over to me and invited me to go to the temple. And I didn't know what a temple was, but I followed him. And then somebody brought me right upstairs to meet Prabhupada. So that I met him wasn't due to my qualifications. But it was in the sense that, I was really a mercy case. But it was also due to my sakritis and sanskars from my previous birth. For example, in Jagadharma and also Srila Gurudev's books, he talks about there's two kinds of sanskars. One is called praktun sanskar, which is very old impressions of sakritis and devotional activities for many, many births. And such a person, he can easily get good association, a good guru, and easily be able to follow him. Then there's Adunika Sanskar, which is, I don't have much on the background, and I have nothing or barely anything now in this life. So it'll be harder for me to get a good guru. And then if I get one, harder for me to follow him. like for example, I complained to Srila Gurudev once that, I could